On this episode, we'll discuss 25 of the best fall ideas to try at your church. Well, hey there, and welcome to another episode of the Church Leadership Lab podcast, the show that is dedicated to inspiring leaders and empowering healthy churches. I'm Kendall Connor, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jess Moore. How are you today, Jess?
Hi, Kendall. I am great. We're recording on a Friday, so I'm always
Always
good.
good. Always good. We're going to bring that Friday energy to today's episode. So
Yes,
I'm
I love
excited
it.
about that. I'm really excited about this episode because we're airing this episode in July, but
Right.
we're going to help you to get really ahead in your planning.
Yes.
And so today we get to talk all about fall. We get to talk about those autumn events. And so
hmm
I'm really excited about that because it's summer right now, but I'm looking forward to that crisp fall air. I don't know about you.
I'm not there yet, Kendall. You know
Nope,
me. I love
are you
my
stuck in
summer.
summer?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
need it all to slow down, but doesn't work like that. It doesn't work
it
like that in
doesn't
our
work like
jobs. Like
that.
all the content we're creating right now is for
Yes,
fall, and you guys have to be thinking about fall. So any way we
yes.
can help you, I agree. This will be a super helpful episode, and maybe by the end of this, I will be ready for fall. I don't
We're
know.
gonna
We'll see.
see. I think you just might be, Jess. This is gonna be a really helpful episode for all of you listeners because we know that as Jess said, the calendar does not stop.
Yeah.
And so, fall is going to be here before you know it. And you want to make sure that you're ready for this impactful ministry season.
Mhm.
There's just
Yep.
so many autumn events that, are good opportunities to reach out to your community, to focus on outreach. So reaching people
Mhm.
outside of your church. But then also there's a lot of things happen in fall time that are really great for the people inside of your church for
Yeah.
community building and leaning into that. And so we're going to touch on some ideas for both sides of that in this episode. And so we've got 25 great ideas that you can take, that you can get some inspiration from. And I love this time of year. So I think it's just going to be really good to help you get ahead in your planning.
Let's do it.
Before we jump into all the ideas and tips that we're going to share today, I'd like to encourage all you listeners out there to hit that follow button. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you're enjoying our show. We want to make sure that you stay in the loop because we're going to continue releasing resources like this, some conversations that can help you as you're serving right there in your community. And really, subscribing is the best way to make sure that you do not miss a thing.
That's
All right,
right.
Jess, let's jump in. So our first idea, and I will say, let me preface this: these first ideas that we're going to share, they are all about the outreach side. This is for
Mhm.
reaching out externally, and so that is the focus. And I'll also just share, like any idea that you find out there that you hear, not every idea is for every church, but
Right.
hopefully every ministry, every listener today can get some things from this, some inspiration for maybe some, maybe that event idea isn't for your church, but you can pull out a little nugget or a little idea out of it. Is that fair?
Absolutely. That's totally fair. Yes. Let's
I
do it.
think so. Awesome. Well, the first idea for some external outreach ideas is a fall festival. Jess, are you a big fan of the fall festival?
I am a fan of all festivals, but yes, I think it's the perfect time of year. The weather's starting to cool down, and you've got some really fun options with a festival. And this can be small and feel real simple, doable, but it can also be big, right? So depending
Yes.
on your church and your bandwidth and volunteer capacity, I think, yeah, we've got some fun options with that one.
I love it. A fall festival really is one of the easiest ways, I think, to create a welcoming, family friendly
Yes.
outreach event for your church, for your community. You're going to have your church community that's coming out. You're going to have people who are in your neighborhood around you.
Mhm.
It gives people a low pressure reason to come onto your campus
Yeah.
and get kind of introduced to your church's building and at least the outside of it maybe,
Mhm,
but they get a
mhm.
chance to meet your church family and have some fun together. And so it is a great idea for the autumn season. And it goes by a lot of different names too. I will say not everyone calls it a fall festival. I think one of my favorite ones is just calling it Fall Fest, which I just
Mm.
think seems a little bit more 2026. I don't know. It
Yeah,
seems
yeah, it's a
cooler.
little edgier, yeah. This is another one too, you didn't mention this, but this is an easy invite one. Like, you're looking
Yes.
for something to do with little kids, this is an easy one for members, regular congregants to
hmm
invite
hmm
new people to, for sure. Yeah,
Yes.
so you can offer things as simple as like games and again, leverage what you already have, but then you can
Yes.
reach out to your congregation and say, "Hey, we're putting together this fall festival for the community. If you are willing,
Yes.
we've got a sign up form. Let us know if you've got yard games you'd be willing to share or
There you
whatever. You
go.
can do
Yep.
inflatables. You can do hay rides. And again, depending on where you live, right? There may be
Yeah.
someone that has the ability to help you with those hay rides, or even just activity stations for kids, you know?
Yeah. One of my favorite things that we've done with this is we'll bring in local food trucks or we'll even do some of the simpler things that are easy to pull off for a church. Like
Yeah.
we'll have the popcorn and the cider and, some simple things like that. But all of it is just a way to get people introduced to your church. And I always like to say, give a clear next step, like inviting
Mhm.
them to a Sunday morning, getting them plugged in that way, or maybe your next family ministry event. And so
Yeah.
that is a great one. All right, we're going to be
Mhm.
moving kind of quickly. So, our next idea, number two, is to try an outdoor movie night. We've done this one as a church. And movie night is a simple, affordable way. It's super easy to pull
Yeah.
off for families, and it's easy for families to invite their friends to. In the
Mhm.
fall, I feel like that cooler weather just makes it perfect time to, you bring out the blankets. You can still do like the lawn chairs, and we know we've said it just like before, the fall festival, having that popcorn and things like that,
Yes.
getting the outdoor
Yes.
screen, all that stuff is pretty easy to pull off, I think.
Very easy. I agree with this one. Very low, minimal setup. If you're
Mhm.
telling folks to bring, I mean, even if you don't wanna provide food or you don't have the capacity to offer a lot of options, even if you were just to do,
Yep.
popcorn and bottled water and just say, "Hey, feel free to bring food with you, bring your lawn
Yes.
chairs, bring your blankets." So then at that point, really all you have left to do is just provide the movie and the screen, right?
Yes. And of course, there's different rules and things like that that you'll want to go by on that. But
Mm,
there's many
true.
companies out there that have you can buy those rights to show those movies. That makes it really easy. You're going to want to choose a film that is family friendly, right?
Yeah. Right.
That makes sense and aligns with what you want to show them in your church parking lot. Or I even say there's a church in our area. They host this. They host their outdoor movie nights at our local park, and they use that as a
Great
way that's
idea.
kind of a neutral ground, that it's a little less
Yeah.
intimidating to invite people
So
to.
smart. Yes, I
So,
love
yeah.
that.
Yeah, so whether it's your own church parking lot or lawn or whether you do it at the park, it's a really easy way to invite people to. So, I love this one.
Perfect. Yep.
Our number 3 idea for the fall is a Thanksgiving food drive. This is a good one because it's a way to give back, and so
Mhm.
when you do a food drive around Thanksgiving time, because that will be here before you know it, it gives your church a tangible way to meet the real needs during kind of like leading in can I say holiday season? Leading
Yeah.
into the
Yeah,
holiday
same.
season.
Yep.
Uh, but it's also a really easy outreach opportunity for people who may be new to serving. And so
Mm, true.
this is a good one, I think.
Yeah, this is great, and this is really, logistically, it's as simple as having a place for people to drop off, preferably not just on Sunday morning, right, when your church doors are open. Is there a way that they can drop off even throughout the week?
Yeah.
You can do even like a gift card drive would be even easier than canned goods.
Wow.
Or if you wanna go the extra mile and make this a Thanksgiving meal kit, we've actually seen some churches that we serve
Yeah.
here at Ministry Brands do this very, very well with a simple sign up form. And so there are different options for this, whether it's a drive, right, or a full fledged Thanksgiving meal operation. This is what the church is called to do, y'all. So this is a good one. I love this. So this is near and dear to my heart, hosting and feeding
Yeah.
people. Kendall, you know that about me.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I like about it that it's kinda there's 2 sides to it. So,
Mhm.
you can facilitate the side where you're collecting the food, and then there's
Yes.
opportunity to serve families, whether that be like you invite people to come to your church
Yeah.
to get these resources, or in some cases, I've seen even where churches will identify some families that are in need, and they'll hand deliver
Mhm.
this and be able to pray with them, and I mean, it's just a lot of different ways
So
that you can
cool.
go about it.
Yes.
But, being at it's a time of the year where you can lean into, really helping people and showing that generosity side of the church. So I love this one.
Mhm. I love it so much. Yeah, and even just my brain just went crazy. We've got so many fun ideas, but if you were to identify specific small groups too to do to work
Mm,
together to make that
it's good.
impactful, whether it's serving a specific family, like a one-to-one. Each small group has a family that they are
That's good.
coordinating for. I think that could be such a really cool, idea.
So the next one, number 4, is a trunk or treat. I feel like this idea has exploded over like the past 10 or 15 years. Like this
Mhm,
is one that I feel like is a great alternative. We know we not every ministry really wants to lean into October 31st, and that's fine. I think this is a way that if you are trying to do something and offer something at your ministry space that's a little bit different to have those festivities, this is really good, I know, for families. And so if you're trying to reach those community members that are in your area that have young children
mm,
who, this is a way that church members can decorate their cars, hand
mhm.
out that candy, and kind of create that safe, fun environment for your community.
Exactly, and if you've not heard of this because you've been living under a rock or something, you literally open up your trunks and you fill it with candy and then you decorate it in some theme, and then generally speaking, I'm not gonna require that this is part of the deal, but your family that is presenting your trunk should match the theme and be dressed up, and I think it's just so cute. Kendall,
Got a
your
great
family
story
has
for
done
this.
this.
Yeah, absolutely. This past year, our family we did this, and we love camping. I've talked about that on the show a million times, but yeah, we did a camping theme, and so we all had our camping gear on and sleeping
Yeah,
bags,
I
and
love it.
made a little like fake campfire in front of our car. Just super fun.
So fun.
So yeah, anytime you can do those things, that just adds, just makes it even more interactive, and it's a great experience.
Make
So
it a contest. People really go all out.
yes, absolutely. Well, something that I love with that is also just an easy way to invite people to church. Like a
Mhm.
lot of times you'll do something like that during the week or on a Friday night or something like that. Give that next step. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Join us. We'd love to have you back at church this Sunday.
Mhm. So good.
Kinda in that same way, serving the community, we talked about, the Thanksgiving outreach and the
Mhm.
trunk or treat. Number 5, it is a community service project.
Mm.
Fall is a really great time to get outside the walls of the church and serve your city, serve your community, and when you do a service project, it kinda just reminds people that ministry is not just something that happens on Sunday.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is the in between the Sundays is actually the most important part. Sundays is meant for your congregation to get poured into so that you can go back out and pour out during the week. So I agree. This is a great time to be doing those things. You can have this on a large scale with your church. It's a full
Yes.
coordinated assault on loving people in your community, or you can partner with organizations and just present yourself as an extra arm of what they're already doing and how you can be effective in partnership with them.
This is really good. Our church, we do different service projects throughout the month, but occasionally, what we will do for a time like in the fall is we'll have a coordinated what we call a serve day. And so
Mhm.
you could do
Yeah,
a fall serve day where you're going to have
nice.
multiple projects that people can sign up for. Again,
Mhm.
being able to you can use things like forms to make that really easy
Yes.
inside of your church software,
Yep.
and so people can sign up for different projects that they can be a part of. But they can look like everything from yard work or cleaning up a street,
Mhm.
to going and serving food, serving meals, or you can bring groceries or have those available for pickup. There are a million different ways, and really lean into what works for your community. And Jess, you spoke
Mhm.
to it. Get your small groups involved on this. So
Yeah.
maybe, one small group is going to tackle this project together,
Mhm.
or, you can lean into different ministries. The worship team is all going to go and do this project,
Yeah.
which just kinda makes it fun to get your different church members involved.
Absolutely. It builds community amongst your congregation as
Mhm.
well. So this is one that you're serving externally, but you're community building internally, which is super, super important as a body of Christ. So love that.
Number 6, another great idea that you can try this fall is a food truck festival. Now, this depending on where you live, food trucks, I feel like, and at least in our area, Jess, they have just exploded. We have every kind of food truck in our area that you can imagine.
Mhm.
Having a food truck festival creates an easy, fun community gathering that does not require your church to prepare all the food. So people
Yeah.
are going to get their bellies full, but
Yeah.
you don't have to do all the cooking. I feel like that's a win.
Yeah.
When I
So fun.
say when I say festival, our listeners, they may be intimidated by that. and think that they have to have 100 trucks out there. But let me tell you something. If you can just get a couple of trucks in
Yeah.
your church parking lot for a coordinated event, people love it. And they can see
Yeah.
a neighboring, you can let your people know, put up some flyers and say, like, hey, put it on your face, make a Facebook event, put it on
Mhm.
your website, all these different places, and let people know that, hey, on this evening, we're going to be having, you can come and we're going to have these food trucks and people will come out for this. It just makes it fun and people can get together again without you having to do all the cooking.
Exactly, and, we have in our at our church, we do this, we have a food truck at least once a month outside of our church because
Yeah.
they are members. So, ask around in your community to see if anyone
Wow.
does
Yeah.
this already as their business, and you can support someone already right there within your congregation.
It's good.
So I think that's an easy win, and then besides that, if you wanted to go the extra mile and you've got something to do, have some live music out there. You take your own worship team,
Yes.
have them learn some songs. They probably already play secular music in their spare time anyway. So bring them around and have them play some fun, like, I don't know, classics that everybody can sing along to.
That's
Or if
fun.
you wanted to do like a low key kids activity zone just to keep them kind of contained so
Yep.
mom and dad can eat uninterrupted,
Man, that's good.
you can do that. But otherwise, just have the food. The people will come and they will get along and they will fellowship. It'll be wonderful.
That's another one of those things too where you can go as low key as you wanna go, but you can
Mhm.
go also go as extravagant. If you wanna bring out the lawn games,
Yeah.
like, you wanna have the live music like you said, or just encourage folks to bring those chairs and come looking for fun and get their bellies full. I love that.
So good.
Number 7, our next event idea is to do a coat drive or a winter clothing drive. This leans
Mhm.
into that community service lane a little bit more
Yes.
than kind of similar to what we said with the Thanksgiving food drive. But I love this. As the weather cools down, let's be honest, I mean, there are people who are gonna be in need. There are gonna be
Yeah.
families that, maybe they don't have the money to be able to get all of their kids coats that fit for this year as
Right.
the weather cools down.
Right.
They're gonna need hats, they're gonna need coats, they're gonna need gloves, they're gonna need that warm clothing. I feel
Mhm.
like a winter clothing drive is just a practical way to care for your community before the coldest months arrive.
It is practical and it is easy. I mean, it's as simple as putting out a couple cardboard boxes. I think where there is opportunity is to identify proactively what you're going to do with
Yes.
that clothes as it comes in. So,
Yes.
provide an opportunity for your congregation to have their needs met. And so, if that's just a QR code that says, like, we're
Yes.
in need of winter clothing. They scan that QR code. That's a private experience for them. No shame there. They can enter, their
That's good.
information so that their needs are met. What size are your kids' clothes? Whatever. Additionally, you can partner with a local school. So our church does that, and there is a school
Yes.
in our neighborhood, and I think that's a great way to partner. Communicate with someone on staff. A lot of times, there's like a school counselor that will have some idea of
Yes.
the general need that their kiddos might have going into fall and winter. And then lastly, if those options aren't available to you, or if there's you receive more than you can give for those two things have demanded, which would be wonderful. Is there a homeless shelter nearby where you
That's
can
right.
donate those items? So, kind of have some idea of what you want to go with, and maybe what the need is beforehand, so that you have a goal that you
That's
can
good.
bring your congregation in to help meet.
I love that, and, there's just so much opportunity. I love that you said lean into the actual need in your community, and so
Mhm.
reaching out to that local school, any of those things, because you can go two one of 2 ways about this. I mean, several ways, but
Yeah.
you can make it kind of an all call, like, to collect new or gently used coats and
Mm,
scarves and gloves and
mhm.
all blankets, all those things. Or you can do something a little bit similar to, like, how I would describe, like, an angel tree. So if you
Right.
know from your local school that you have 20 kids that need coats for this year and you grab their sizes ready and people can
Mhm.
sign up and they can buy for specifically those sizes and they be
Yes.
delivered to that school.
Yeah.
Many different ways that you can go about it, but the
Right.
idea is to give back, to help. And so
Mhm.
great time to lean into it. All right, our next fall idea to try, number 8, is a concert on the lawn. I love this idea because a concert out on your church's lawn or in your parking lot it is a fun outreach event that brings people together through music. And it's
Yeah.
likely that your church is already pretty good at music, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So you can either start with maybe some more secular music that would draw people in that wouldn't otherwise, be drawn into worship music. And then kind of as the evening progresses, if you've got, a pastor that's wanting to deliver a quick like, hey, if you're interested about in knowing and what we're all about, maybe, if you've got the ability to have a QR code or something where they can learn about your church and your ministry a little bit, maybe what to expect section of your website, and
Yeah.
then a gentle invitation to salvation, or if you wanted to do a worship song, this is a really cool way to draw people in and then hit them with Jesus when they least expect it. But yeah, if this is on the lawn of your church, that's one thing. But I think this could be a cool one that if there is an option for you to do this in a more public spot, how cool would that be?
Well, I think something that's neat about this is, you can of course use your own local, or you can use your
Mhm.
worship band right from your church, and
Yeah.
there's going to be some ministries out there they're going to say, well, we'll sing our songs from Sunday, and like that's what we'll do, and we'll advertise
Yeah.
it as such. There's also ways, you know, to bring in a Christian artist, like that may be
Mhm.
something. You maybe even have someone who is local to your area, or maybe I mean, I think about a fall festival one year at our church. Some an element that we included was we have some musicians that they sing on Sundays with us, but they also, as a couple, they go and like they perform music on their own. They write their own
Right.
songs and things like that. And
Love
so,
it.
being able to introduce and kind of have a little variety there, as you spoke to, I think is
Yeah.
a great way to do it. But that's another one of those things where you're like, bring the lawn chairs, bring the
Mhm.
blankets. Maybe you do include something like a food truck or two.
Yeah.
But the simple idea though is to have music, and people
Yes.
love music, and so it can
Mhm.
draw,
Mhm.
it can get a lot of attention.
Yeah, it can Jeff and I always look for this when we've got, like, date night planned. We're like, "Where's the
Hmm.
live music?" This is one of the
Yes,
biggest draws for us for sure.
love that idea, and I think it was really cool, Jess, that you said don't forget to have that invitation. Invite
Mhm.
them to come back on Sunday morning.
It doesn't have to be as aggressive as I insinuated, but you definitely shouldn't miss the opportunity.
That's good. Our next event idea number 9 is a pumpkin patch outreach. Okay, I'll be the first one to admit I had not heard about this until I moved to where we are now, to our current city, Jess. I had never seen this, and so the first autumn that we were in our area, I was like, "What is this?" I'm curious.
Yeah.
In Tulsa, is this a big thing?
Well, we have pumpkin patches for sure. I
Yeah.
don't know. I guess I'm trying to think as I'm, like, driving through Tulsa. Yeah, there are churches that have, like, one of those big tents set up with
Yes.
pumpkins. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's a pumpkin patch. We have pumpkin patches all over Tulsa because we've got farming communities all around here. But this is
Yes.
an interesting. I don't know that I had heard of this as a church outreach.
So, the way that I was introduced to this is you're not literally growing pumpkins at your church,
That's
but
hard.
because yes, that's a difficult ask. However, having that pumpkin patch or having this where it is brought in by local farmers, similar to
Hmm.
how they would do at a farmer's market,
Hmm.
but you use this as a way. A lot of churches will use this as a fundraiser, but
Oh
also as a way
yeah,
to connect with people in the area, because it's a lot more fun to come and be able to kind of pick out a pumpkin in a place that's set up for this. You've got the hay bales set up. You can do your photo booths. You can
yeah,
have your fall decorations. Even if around busy times like weekends and things like that, you can have things set up where you do crafts, or you do offer, I don't know, apple cider or story
yeah.
time for the kids, all those different elements, while
Cute.
you're also providing a service to the
Yeah,
community, and that they can come and get a pumpkin together as a family for a reasonable price. And then also, they get to get introduced to your church. So there's
yeah.
a lot of wins around this
Yeah,
one idea,
definitely.
right?
The fundraising aspect is, like, brilliant. Yeah, okay, I kinda love this idea for churches now. Thanks for
It's
introducing
really
it.
cool. Yeah, yeah, and, we've even seen where they've said, "Okay, the proceeds are gonna go to, missions, or they're gonna go
Sure.
to a local nonprofit," or I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can do it, but,
Yeah,
really cool idea, and it definitely goes with the season, right?
definitely kinda love it. Yep, that's great.
All right, number 10, our next fall event idea to try is a college student dinner night. Okay, let me tell you about this idea because we have a thriving college ministry at our church, and we have a lot of different universities and colleges that are around in our area. And so, something that we learned very quickly is that a lot of these kids, they're away from home. A meal goes such a long way. And so,
Mm.
something that we've done is we've offered just nights that we'll have our college ministry, whether it be pizza, whether it be something more substantial in terms of food. It's an easy way to get college students introduced to your church. We provide transportation
Oh,
to get to our church, and we know that it's going to be a college focused night. And they're going to get free food. They're going to get to hear about Jesus. They're going to have free transportation because a lot of college students do not
right,
drive, which was
right.
surprising to me. I
Or
learned
gas
that
is
this
just
year.
expensive.
And gas is expensive, yeah. The other thing is maybe they don't come to your church for
Yeah.
a free meal, maybe you take the meal to them, and so one of
Mhm.
the things that our church has gotten into this, past couple of years is we actually purchased a food truck so that we can go to places like colleges and we can have food that we
Cool.
serve them, and, that's just one of the ways, and we use it as an ice cream truck in the summer so we can go and we can give
So
away
fun.
free ice cream, and so, like, whatever it may be. Maybe they come to you, maybe you go to them. Here's what I know is that when you can offer a meal to these college students, it goes such a long way,
Yes.
and because they are far away from a home cooked meal, and
Mhm.
anytime that you can offer these free items to college students, it's an easy way to connect with them and get them connected to your church.
I love this so much. This is my new favorite one. I think of myself in college. First of all, any free meal ever was a huge win. We didn't really actually care what it was. It was like we
Yeah,
don't have to
yeah,
pay. We don't have to swipe our calf card. We don't have to
hmm,
eat
right,
ramen again. It's such a blessing. So this is a really wonderful idea. Also, too, there's sometimes college students that are in town and a lot of their
yes,
friends have either moved away or not
hmm,
there, and so they're like, "Oh, I don't wanna hang with mom and dad every night that I'm here." So that's a
yeah,
fun way
sure,
too as you get closer to the holidays, if they're on fall break or whatever, it's
wow,
a good way to
yeah,
kind
that's
of
true,
reunite your maybe former high schoolers that did youth group together, bring them back together for a
that's good.
reunion too. So this is a great option. Make the food, they will come. So
Very
sweet.
cool, and also it kinda goes with that fall timeline 'cause if you do have those schools that are near your ministry, they're gonna be coming in and they're trying to find a place to get connected, and
Yes.
so it's just really lean into that, see what works for your specific church context, but it's a fun idea.
Love it.
Number 11, the next idea is a craft fair or yard sale. Jess, are you a big craft fair kinda person?
No, but I am a big garage sale person. Me and my
Okay,
friend Koi, we, like, love thrift store shopping and
yeah,
garage sales. So, I mean,
some
I've
some
attended many a craft fair, though.
Yeah. Well, okay, so here's what's interesting with this. And again, play to the strengths of your unique
Yes.
ministry context.
Yes.
But we've mentioned the parking lot so many times. A lot
Mm.
of ministries, you have large parking lots.
Mhm.
You also may have large, fellowship halls, areas like this. If it depending on the area that you're in, having like a craft fair or a yard sale, like that may be something that brings people out.
Mhm.
So a craft fair or yard sale can bring people from the community onto your campus while
Yes.
also supporting different things that you're doing. And so
Mhm.
for example, you may make tables available or booths available
Booths,
to
yeah.
your local, to your community, and people can sign up for this to take advantage. You can have your tables or have your booths
Mhm.
available for local vendors, for
Yeah.
makers, for church members to host these different areas. Or
Mhm.
you can also offer things like bake sales and kids
Yeah.
activities and coffee and things like that. And you can even try to get proceeds from that to go towards your ministry or your missions and things like that.
Right.
But offering it up and offering having a spot for locals to come and get plugged in is
Mhm.
a win.
That is a win, and I'd say too that locals are going to attend and shop, but locals are also gonna probably want a booth. So if you open up the,
Yes.
vendors, right, to your broader community, this is also a really good fundraising opportunity to not necessarily take proceeds from the vendors themselves, but there's generally speaking, when you attend one of these as a vendor, you're paying for your booth space.
That's
So if
correct.
they're paying for their booth, right, be clear about where that money's going as a church, especially to people who are not members of your church. Help them understand what the
Sure.
impact of their fee will be. But I think it's a really cool way to very casually and comfortably express your mission as an organization to these vendors who are now visiting your church for all intents and purposes. If you've made it clear with your congregation that, hey, not all of these vendors are from our church family, we would love for
Sure.
you to go the extra mile and compliment them and support them in their businesses to show them the love of Jesus. So, this is a really cool fundraising opportunity and outreach opportunity. Whether it is a yard sale and you are, selling gently used anything, or if you have someone that is gifted and wants to sell whatever it is that they make.
That's
I think
right.
this is a cool way to expose the community to your mission, fundraise for that mission, and then bring community together to mingle with members and non-members.
Very, very good. And there's a church in our area. When I tell you they do this well, it is a huge event in our
Mm,
community when they have it as one of the largest craft fairs in our area, which is just
wow,
really
so
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
All right. Our next idea, number 12, is a Veterans Day appreciation event. Here's the thing you don't think about in the fall when it doesn't necessarily feel like an autumn type theme, but that
Yeah.
Veterans Day is there in that time frame.
Mhm.
And there are likely, I know that there are veterans in your area. And so
Right.
this Veterans Day gives your church a meaningful opportunity to honor those veterans and those military
Mhm.
families that are both in your congregation and in your community. And so this can look like a lot of different things. And again, play to the strengths of your specific church. But
Right.
I've seen churches that will host a appreciation breakfast or a
Mhm.
lunch or just some kind of meal for veterans and their families. They also, I've seen where they partner with local veterans organizations for service projects or donations. But really, just a way if you have that community, that group of people in your community, lean into how you can serve them and pour out the love of Jesus on these
Mhm.
families. It goes a really long way.
It does. At minimum, you need to recognize these veterans during that season at Sunday services,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
spend some extra time in prayer and with a heart of to honor them for their service. I think it goes a really long way to just pause and acknowledge what this is if you can't do a full scale event.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Our next idea, number 13, is a fall family night. Now, I put this one in here, Jess, because I feel like it is a little bit different than a festival. What I mean when I say a fall family night, it's a simple outreach event that's designed specifically for parents and their kiddos, right?
Okay.
This gives families a safe place to have some fun together while helping them build relationships with your church. And
Yes.
this is how I've seen this, right? So if you've seen a VBS before,
Right.
we just finished up a VBS season at in our community, and
Yes.
on the final night, there was an event where all the parents were invited to come with the kids, and they got to kind of engage in this service or these activities together. And so they had some songs, and you got to participate in that with your kiddos. But then afterwards, they had a meal for everyone. They had
Mm,
a meal and they had like the inflatables and all those things outside. It was all things that you could do together as a
yeah.
family.
I
I
love
think
it.
take that idea and apply it in the fall. Have pumpkin decorating, have
Mm.
games, crafts. Maybe you do some kind of thing. You bring out the apple cider, you bring out the fall type of snacks, and really just have it so that people can get introduced. These families can get introduced to your ministry, and they get to hear a gospel message all while they're having fun with their kiddos.
Yeah, this is great. I think too, partnering with your kid, it's easy, mom and dad, and I know this. I don't know how many moms and dads. This isn't a parenting podcast. However, surely many of you have children. And it is very tempting when you go to these things to just like let your kids run wild and hang out with the other grown-ups. So I would say be super intentional with these activities that you're planning. And if it is a game, like a three-legged race might be dangerous, but, if you can think of a game where it's like one kiddo and one of your grown-ups, maybe don't say parents, not every that's a little bit touchy,
Sure.
but you and your grown-up do this together. It is required that you partner with your grown-ups. So you will reach an age of kiddos that may not be interested in this anymore, and that's okay. I don't know that I think my kids would do a three-legged race with me, but you get what I'm trying to say. I think if you foster
Yeah.
those opportunities to work with parent and child, that will kind of remove the opportunity for parents to check out or, and engaging with other parents is great. Maybe that's what we do at
Yeah.
the festival. But this family night, I think, is an opportunity for you to be very intentional with
Yes.
moments where you are connecting parents or grown-ups with these kiddos. So,
Yeah.
this is a
Really good. All right, Jess. Now we're going to jump into the rest of our ideas are what I'll call internal. They are designed to really lean into your church family and
cool.
to lean into that community. And so we're going to have to go fast on these. The
Okay.
first, number 14, is our Labor Day picnic. Now, this is something you think of Labor Day, that's like kind of like the beginning of the fall season. But
Yes.
this is a really good one because a Labor Day picnic is a simple way to mark the end of summer and
Mhm.
help your church family to reconnect before all of the fall routines get super busy.
Correct.
And this is great because it's casual, it's
Mhm.
multi-generational, and it's
Mhm.
really good because you can do all of these things, the lawn games, the playground, the cornhole tournament, all the food, the potluck, however you want to do it. But it's
Yeah.
great because it kind of kicks off the fall season.
I love it. And two, the word picnic doesn't insinuate a festival, right? Like if you're using the word picnic, people
Mhm.
are expecting a certain thing, a certain type of event. And that's like
Right.
really casual to your point, really low key,
Yes.
easy food, blankets, and conversation. It doesn't have to be really anything beyond that. Anything else is kind of the cherry on top. But the
Yes.
expectation going into a picnic is just going to be food and fellowship. And I love
That's
that.
right. Really good. Number 15 is a staff retreat. Going into the fall season, it's really good to get your team, whether they be volunteers, maybe it's your paid staff, maybe it's
Hmm.
your main people that you have involved, but really taking a time where you can pause,
Yeah.
regroup, and
Yeah.
align all of your staff before really the things get busy in the fall season.
Yes.
This
Yes.
is a time where, you can give your leaders time to pray and plan
Mhm.
and reconnect relationally, really lean into how God wants to speak to your unique church in this season
Mm,
and really do maybe some meals together, some team building exercises together. All of those things can be super effective in getting your staff ready for the fall.
absolutely. Prayer, I think, is a big one. Spend
Hmm.
time in prayer together. There's just something really important when two or more are gathered, right? So,
Yes.
I think I'd say this one's pretty critical. And even if that means not, you don't have to go far, far away on a trip, although that'd be fun.
Yes.
But just retreat means being set aside. You are
Yes.
stopping the external noise, realigning on your
That's
mission
right.
and vision and what God's calling you to do. I'd say that's a foundational activity that your church should really prioritize to set vision going into this next busy season. So agree that this one's a big one.
Yeah. Okay. Number 16. This is one that I called it an internal church family activity. I suppose it could be used for outsiders, but I think it's really good for your congregation. And it is something really fun, a chili cook off. The weather starts getting a little bit cold or
Yeah.
outside, the
Yeah.
air is crisp. Having that hot bowl of chili, I mean, it is the perfect time for it. A
Yeah.
chili cook off is a fun, competitive, and easy way for people to participate. It also is a great way to kind of get that connection across multiple generations with this because
Yeah.
we all like to have our bellies full, right? Like
Yeah.
we like to eat together, and so you can invite members to bring their best chili and to compete in these categories. Super fun. You can let attendees vote for what is going to be like the best bowl of chili, or maybe what is the spiciest, or what
Yeah.
is the most creative, or like there's all these things, and you can also do those fun things like the football and the
Yes.
lawn games and all of those things. It makes it
Mhm.
super fun.
Yeah, I love this one. Whenever anyone says chili cook-off to me, I always just see, like, a bunch of dads in aprons. I don't know why that's my visual, but it absolutely is. I do feel like that competitive edge just, like, people get intense about chili cook-offs, but I love
Yes.
it. I love
That
chili, so
Yeah, and
definitely works for me.
that's 100% my father-in-law. The apron comes out, right, and, like, he's all in, so it is a super fun thing.
Spiciest
Uh,
grandpa is what
yeah,
I'm envisioning on the apron. I feel like this will be Jeff one day,
this is
definitely.
this is hilarious. I
Yeah.
love it. All right, next, number 17, an event for your fall season is a small group Sunday. Now, we know that fall is one of the best times to help people get connected, in
Mhm.
your church and get connected to a small group, and it's because of the season, right? Like, back to school time, like, you're getting those new routines.
Yes.
A dedicated Sunday for people to learn about your small groups, hear why it's beneficial for them, and
Mhm.
kinda give them that nudge to take that next step it can be just like a really great way to get people plugged in.
Right. This solves a big problem. This is a Jessica problem, not an everyone problem, but this is a big problem that I have personally identified with my preferences when I go to church. This is very self-centered. But I can read about small groups on your small group finder all day long. This event, however, would be a big yes for me because I would want to go in person, meet the people hosting, right? Th- you need some overlap in the season of life that you're in or interest.
Yeah.
That's the point of small group. It's not being forced into groups with people who you might not get along with. Sometimes the Lord does that and we love him for it. It's very sanctifying. But generally speaking, if you're going to start doing life with people, it's fun to kind of meet them. And I do feel like this is a really cool opportunity for people to find where they belong. This is something we just did a webinar on, so I'm extra passionate about it today. But yeah, this is a great way to build belonging and give people exposure to what you offer. Our church even has like a flag football league. That's considered a small group.
Yeah,
Okay. So like so fun for these men of all generations to be able to play a sport together, build relationships in that way. You wouldn't know about it. I mean, I
that's
guess you
right.
could see it on the small group finder, but you would see that right away in a room where this is all kind of set up and
Right.
you'd be able to see your people right away. So, great
So
idea.
we for our church, we've done this several different ways. We've had tables set up in the lobby where you could go and at one table you can find out about all of the small groups that are for men, or find out
Yeah,
another table has all of the ones for couples, or
yeah,
different areas.
love
We've
that.
also We've also just, had where you can meet the leaders, and that's gone a
Yes.
really long way. But
Yeah.
it's also a good time where you can do things in your service, like share a testimony from someone whose life was
So good.
impacted
Yep.
by a small group. But you
Yeah.
definitely want to offer those easy sign up processes. So,
Mm,
like having the QR codes, having
yes.
your church app, have all of these things ready to go, your website, so that people, when they are ready to sign up, that you have an easy mechanism for them to get signed up. So
Great call out.
that's
Also,
going to be a good
location's
one.
important. Like, I
Mm.
could get real excited about something, a community group, and then find out they're 45 minutes away. So, I don't
Yes,
know why
that's
that
very
happens.
true. Yeah, and I love that you called out the flag football league. Our church does a softball team and a kickball team, and
Yeah.
so I'm like, yeah, get plugged in and
So
pray
fun.
together and play ball together. So I love
Yeah.
that. All right, number 18, Jess. I know how much you love the outdoor
I'm
activities.
already
I do
laughing at
too.
this one.
So I love this idea. Number 18 is a church camping trip. I love this.
Yeah.
This
Love it.
this is this is gonna be good. A church camping trip can help people to build those friendships. Again, outside the four walls of a church, in a
Mhm.
relaxed environment away from those normal routines.
Yeah.
This may look different for your church. Sometimes it's just the men who go. Other times it
Right.
may be small groups who go, or
Yeah.
it may be like something that's offered to everyone. Because not everybody is going to be into camping, but it is a
Sure.
cool way to be able to get together outside the four walls of the church. This
Mhm.
can look different for different places based on your location, right? And so
Yeah.
for some places, it's going to look like finding, some local campsites or cabins or a campground.
Mm.
Other times, it may look like some churches have enough land that you can
Yeah.
facilitate this
That'd be
on your
cool.
church property, which is
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
Whatever it looks like, I think it's just fun to offer something like this as the weather is getting a little bit cooler, right?
So fun, and we've got a lot of I mean, Jeff and I have obviously, explored many, many a campsite, so a lot of places, if you're listening to this and you're like, "I'm not a camper," great, that's okay. Just a couple of tips. A lot of campsites have group camping areas where you can
Yes.
have, like, a certain number of tents or whatever.
Yep.
Another thing too is group campsites generally have a larger meeting area. Sometimes it's indoor and air conditioned, sometimes it's just a
Mm, good
pavilion.
call out.
But there's an opportunity there to do, yes, some fun games and team building and fellowship, but there also is an opportunity to pour into people in a way if you are interested in adding that aspect to
Yeah,
it.
like
Usually when
worship,
you
worship
rent out
together.
that area, yeah, usually when you rent out that area, that larger group gathering space is included in your rental. And so just a fun little tip for those of you that have never set foot on a campsite.
That's really good. That's a good call out. All right, number 19. You may not realize it. Sometimes it's easy to forget, but the
Mm,
fall brings Pastor Appreciation Day.
mm,
It brings Pastor Appreciation Month. However, you want to celebrate this, October is usually the time that is recognized as that time to appreciate our pastors, our leaders, our clergy. It is a fun time that you can include those elements in your services. Be thinking about that now, what you want to
yeah,
do, because it doesn't have to be some elaborate thing to be
right,
meaningful. You know, you can do
right.
something. It is a good thing to include in your regular church calendar for the fall. And so, you want to go approach this and what makes sense for your unique church. But it is good to recognize those leaders, recognize that lead pastor and those
Mm,
families during a service, or at least in that season. Maybe
yeah.
write cards of encouragement or things like that, or maybe you can do things on social media. Um,
Mm.
a lot of different ideas, but fall is the time to lean into it.
Yeah, I agree. I think my mind immediately went to recognizing just the pastors, but you're absolutely right. The opportunity to recognize pastors' families because they make
Mm,
sacrifices too, right?
yes, that's
Large
good.
sacrifices a lot of the times. And so I think being able to, whatever that looks like, Kendall gave some really great ideas. So, whatever that looks like at your church, that little extra element of including their families is huge and just continues to build the community there. So, great idea.
All right, number 20, do a fall themed potluck. Now, potluck is a fun way that you can get people all together, and different, churches have different traditions on this. You may not call it a potluck, but
I was gonna say, is
whatever
that
it
like a
is,
universal term? I don't know.
it's hard to say. Different places, different places do different things, but sharing a meal together, right? Having where
Mhm,
different people will bring different elements to share at the table
mhm.
together. But
Yeah.
doing something that's themed around the fall is a fun way to kind of mix this idea up a little bit, because if
Mhm.
you can host, if you can create a space for fellowship around a table, I feel like that's a win. But
Always
if
a
you
win.
can if you can theme it more towards the fall, it's a great way just to mix it up a little bit. You want to create a place that's intentional, that's
Mhm,
warm,
mhm.
relational, and ultimately it's a low cost for the actual church because you
So
have
true.
people who are bringing so many of the elements, right?
Yes, so true. This is to me like the most classic church gathering of all time. Like, this goes back to, I mean, Jesus Day, right? Like, this is coming together for a shared meal is such a I don't know, like deep ingrained part of the church
Mhm.
culture. So
For
I
sure.
love this one so very much. And to your point, this is a great use of your fellowship hall. Like I grew up, going to a Baptist church originally when I was a little girl, and this was just like
Yeah.
every month we did a potluck, or
Yeah.
in churches it's every week. So, but fall
Yes.
themed is the key here. Bring out your pumpkin flavored stuff,
That's right.
and bring back the favorite chili from your
Yeah.
season.
Yeah. I love that. So, try out that favorite fall recipe, bring it out. Yeah. But basically, the things that are important is, that people can share a meal, that they can have good conversations.
Yes, yes.
But even adding in the spiritual element of,
Mm,
maybe you share a devotional or a testimony, or, you pray together in that moment, or maybe you just have it after service is another fun way to do
right.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's great. Also, too, be intentional with the fact that you've got people sitting together and mingling. If you want to create some simple conversation cards, and these can be fun and just high level and easygoing, or they can be a little bit more spiritually driven,
That's
and
right.
provide an opportunity for people to talk about deeper parts of their walk with the Lord. So, yeah, that's a fun idea to layer in.
I love it. All right. Number 21. Try a serve team Sunday, or maybe you might want to call it a ministry fair. This is similar to that small group Sunday idea that we
Yeah,
brought up, but really this is about getting people to a place where they can find out how they can serve on
right.
Sundays, how they can join the team. And so what's really cool about this is in the same way that you highlight, oh, we have what did you say, flag football group or
Right.
this Bible study, you can highlight the areas where they can get plugged in, such as like the
Mm,
worship team or the
mhm.
production team or the parking team, whatever the different areas of ministry that you have available for people to volunteer. This is a way for people to kind of give them that nudge to
Right.
get plugged in this specific season, especially as things ramp up before Christmas and big days like that, right?
Yeah, so good. And just leveraging kind of technology in this space just to help
Mhm.
the process along. One really cool idea is if you have the capacity, if you've got kiosks or iPads or something, offering a
Yes.
spiritual giftings, like a short spiritual giftings test, I think could be a really cool way to kind of capture information and interest about your
Yes.
congregation specific to this. If they've shown up, then they're probably interested in serving. And if you can learn about their giftings, what a gift that is, right? So then great. We identified their giftings. They figure out, I want to
Right.
serve here. Make that as easy as possible, whether it's a QR code and a quick form
Yes.
fill, or whatever that looks like at your ministry. Just make that onboarding process that it's not even onboarding, that, initiation into that, whatever
Right.
that looks like, make that super streamlined so that it's not a burden to them and they're not spending their
That's
entire
good.
afternoon there trying to get involved.
Two ways that I've seen this unfold. I just recently saw a church that they did this. They did a big day. They had testimonies during their service about how, serving has made an impact in their families. And then they had where people stayed after. They
Mhm.
took, if they wanted to find out more, they could take that spiritual gift test and then get plugged in right away. I've also seen, I think it may have even been in our own church, where we actually had this message be focused that day on serving. And we did everyone on their phones the spiritual gift test or
Cool.
or the questionnaire in the service. And so they were able to find out those things. And so they already had that part down.
Yeah.
Now it was just, okay, what's your next step? Let's get you plugged in onto a team. Lots of ideas here, but highlight the ways that people can get involved. You could also highlight things like your men's ministry, your
Yeah.
women's ministry, your kids' ministry, or whatever, so that people can get an idea, maybe people who are newer to your church,
Mm.
about the things that are available for them.
Yeah, love that.
All right. Number 22. I love this one. A bonfire and worship night. Now,
Mhm.
this seems like fall to me, right?
Yes, it's
Getting that,
very
that
fall in the
fire.
'90s.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely. Bring back the old school, I say.
Mhm, yes.
Get that bonfire going out there on the church property. Invite, bring the guitars out, get the worship team out there singing. A worship night brings together kind of like you get the coziness of the fall and the
Yeah.
fire, but it brings it together with that meaningful time of worship, of prayer, and this can be something for everyone, or it can be for your students, it can be for
Mhm.
your young adults, or maybe it's a small group, or the whole
Yeah.
church.
Yeah, I love that. I kinda love the idea of having it targeted. If you've got time to do multiple of these, love the idea of having a specific kind of age group, I guess, if you will, or demographic,
Yeah.
attend these. Even a staff, like during your staff retreat,
Hmm.
two birds with one stone. This would be a great way
Yes.
to build community, and just make it a super intentional time of prayer and worship.
Very cool idea. All right, number 23, flag football or a football Sunday. And so I like this idea. Fall and football naturally kind of go together. And
Da-na-na,
so what's cool?
da-na-na, da-na-na, da-na-na. That's, like, literally the soundtrack in my mind as you're saying flag
That's
football or
so
football.
funny. This can be especially fun if you are near certain areas, like if you know that everyone in your church, like they lean towards a certain team because of where you're located and things like that. They're already going to be thinking about football when it comes to the
Yeah.
fall. It's really easy. We have hosted flag football games on Saturdays when we get towards the fall. We do for our men's group every single year. It's something that we always do. We do like a little tournament, and it's just super fun. Also, just something that's really easy, especially for if you live in an area where everyone does lean into a certain team. Encourage people to wear on a certain Sunday like their favorite team jersey. It's
Yeah,
just an absolutely free way to do something fun together as a congregation. It costs the
yes,
church nothing to say, "Hey, this is Jersey Sunday. Everywhere and just wear your favorite team jersey." And
love
it's
it.
just a fun way. Have a little photo booth set up that kind of
Yeah,
just leans into that for this season.
I love it. I bet you people that have never talked before will start trash talking each other, and then they're gonna be best friends. This is awesome.
Oh, we've done this many, many times. It's fun. It's just lean into it. I think it's the right
Mhm.
season for it.
Yeah, and nobody's worrying about this is like boys and dad's favorite Sunday. They're like, "We don't have to wear khakis. We can wear jerseys." Yes, honey, you can. Yeah, so fun.
So funny. Number 24, Friendsgiving. I feel like this is something that is a term that has become more popular and over the past few years as people get together with their friend groups. What a way to share a meal
Mhm.
with people in your church family. Now, you
Yeah.
can do this several different ways. You can have essentially what is a potluck, but then call it Friendsgiving and do it around that Thanksgiving time. And it just amps up the fun. People just
Mhm.
it's a unique twist, or this is something that you can do with your small groups where you say, okay, not only are we going to share a meal together, but we're going to, be intentional about including gratitude,
Yeah.
sharing that moment together and inviting people who may not have a family nearby that they can connect with
Mhm.
over
So
Thanksgiving.
good.
Think back to
Yeah,
those college students
right.
who may not be able to travel home, or think to people who maybe just their family situation is really unique in this time of the year. I
Mm.
would just
Yeah.
say this is a time to connect and share a meal together, and really just express that gratitude over the table.
Yeah. No notes on that, Kendall. I love Friendsgiving. You know I'm hosting every year. You know there's a sign-up form, so nobody's bringing the same thing. Yeah, I love this
That's a
idea. I
good
just have
tip.
to think it's an easy one. Small groups is the way on this one, I think. So it's a little bit more intentional. It's a little bit smaller. But yes, love it.
All right, number 25. I can't believe we've gone through 25 of these ideas, Jess. Number 25 is tailgating after church. You're like, Kendall, what are you talking about? Here's the fun thing. If you know that you're going to be leaning into football and people are going to be thinking about that in this time of year, wouldn't it be fun after church, out in the parking lot, out in the lawn, bring out those lawn chairs, bring out all of the burgers, bring out all of the chili maybe. If you are, if you have kind of that the big uh, inflatable screen like that we talked about for that movie night, use that as a time that if you want to throw that football game up on the screen, by all means, go for it. Make sure you're following all the rules. But the big thing about it is community, just giving people a venue to do life together. If you're gonna eat some burgers, why not do it together after church? Is what I say.
Yeah, this is so fun. And I'll admit that as we've gone through this list, I am slightly more ready for fall. The football stuff got me, man, but yeah, no, it is exciting, and this is a super fun idea. I love this tailgate idea.
All right. We've gone through a lot of different ideas. You think, Kendall, how in the world can you have any more ideas to throw at him? But I will share just something really cool that I'll say. I something that we love to do at our church is just smaller touches. Think like not a big event, but anything that you can throw into a normal Sunday that just adds a little bit extra for people to get
Mm,
involved. Try these ideas. We have served pumpkin iced coffee before church and just gave people a heads up in the newsletter that week that, hey, we're going to have this before church, come a little bit early, fellowship together as we share that pumpkin spice latte.
yeah,
Or same thing, stay after church, we're going to have apple cider for everybody. Or we've even done some fun things like everyone wear your flannel shirt on this day. Again, does not cost the church a
right,
dime to
right,
do that. And it's just fun. And people have such a fun time getting into these fall themes together. Even if you
mm,
say we're going to have a photo booth for that's going to have some pumpkins or some hay bales on this day, and you throw your church sign in there in the mix, it
yeah.
just makes it so that people, and it's such an easy win. It doesn't have to be a big event to have fun in
So
the fall.
true. I love that. Yes. As you're bringing people back into your church, make it cozy, make it fun, and have those activities ready to go. Families are looking for something to do. Community members that don't attend your church are looking for something to do, especially if they've got young children. So be the safe place where they can hang out and have fun and hopefully learn more about Jesus.
All right, Jess, I've had a lot of fun talking through these ideas. I will say what we'll do in the show notes for this is we'll
Hmm.
put a list of all of these ideas to make it super easy for you to take these ideas back
Perfect.
as you're planning for the fall. Hopefully, this has been a great way to jumpstart all of the fun things that you're going to be having this autumn season at your church. And I hope that it's encouraged you. It's been fun for me to kind of get inspired and I'm just ready for, I don't know, like some pumpkin spice lattes after this or something. I don't know.
I'm ready for football.
There we
I
go.
love it.
Hey, if this episode has been a helpful resource to you, would you consider sharing it with a friend? That helps
Mm.
us to keep equipping leaders just like you. Again, hit that follow button. We want to make sure that you're subscribed wherever you're enjoying our show. Until next time, keep leading well right there in your community as you're gearing up for the fall. We'll see you right back here next time on Church Leadership Lab.
This episode of the Church Leadership Lab podcast is brought to you by Ministry Brands, the largest provider of church technology software. Over 90,000 churches rely on Ministry Brands for their single platform solution that brings together all the digital tools a church needs. From online giving to websites to church management software and more, Ministry Brands is leading the way in simple to use, innovative solutions, all with the goal of empowering healthy churches. To learn more, visit ministrybrands.com.